Hey guys, welcome to another Bikini TV. Today we're going to be covering the Big Man Pro where Ivana took the gold. We're also going to be looking at USA's and Miss USA. Did the judges get it right? What are they looking for now? And are they sticking to a criteria in bikini? We're also going to be looking at shows coming up this weekend. There is going to be some throwdowns going down in Florida. That is going to be a huge show. If you're a bikini fan, these last 13 weeks before the show are going to be huge. So let's jump right into it. So first off, jumping into Ivana winning the Big Man show. Now, Ivana, for all of you out there who are starting in bikini a little late and wondering where that age cutoff is, Ivana is 39 and is getting better every year. She is an ageless wonder. So how does Ivana look like this at 39? So one of the things I will say is she's always in shape. And I think that there's a lot to that versus the girls who are always doing a show and blowing up, gaining 30 pounds and then losing to a show. Eventually that skin is not going to stay that tight. But look at Ivana. You can't tell she's 39 from when she was 19 in terms of her skin elasticity. I mean, she looks really, really good. So for all of you out there who think, you know, maybe I got started in bikini a little bit late, they only like the young girls, you know, these days in bikini with how detailed you need to be, I do think that 30 range, that 30 middle range, and even upper 30s as we're seeing is like that perfect age for bikini because you need a lot more muscle than you needed before. You need a lot more detail than you needed before. You actually need to see the tie-ins, and the skin is going to be a tiny bit thinner as you get older, and I think that that's a helpful thing to get those tie-ins to show up. And you can see the people that are peaking are a lot of them are in their 30s now. There's some in their upper 20s. But before, when bikini was more of a softer look, it kind of, I think, aired more towards a little bit of more youth, but now you need more muscle, and that takes time. You need more tie-ins, more detail, more density. That takes time too. So I'm thinking that, you know, we're not running into the window that we thought we had before with bikini. So for all of you masters out there, this is great news for you. You have some real killer masters that are just no signs of aging, and I think this is good to see when people are, you know, 35 and they're like, I want to get into bikini, but maybe I'm too old. You're definitely not. Girls are doing really good and even peaking at 39, 40. Look at even Erin, like I think she's 42 or 43 at this point. You have some awesome competitors, and it doesn't really matter. If you took care of your body, it doesn't matter how old you are, and this is a great example of it. So looking at Ivana, this is the best Ivana we've ever seen by far. Like this is a crazy, crazy good Ivana. Now, looking at her physique, look at that waistline. What a crazy waistline. I mean, that is so detailed, so flat. Her stomach is super, super flat, but she still has some etching to it. I mean, I can't believe her waistline has gotten this small. It's crazy how tiny her waistline has gotten. She has a really good V-taper, not popping into a full X frame yet, still just a very good hourglass shape. I'm really shocked to see her waistline, honestly. This is the best waistline she's ever had at this show. Shoulders are nice and round. Now, she does push the limit of conditioning, and that's just how the judges like her. So she gets a little bit detailed, but this isn't too detailed for her. She's been more detailed than this. She's had more detail, more striations, more density. This is a good balance of how they like her and not going too far and still kind of fitting in that bikini criteria. And when we look at her tie-ins, you're not seeing a full etched tie-in. You're seeing a full tie-in, but it's not etched in. If you look at the hamstrings, you're not seeing any of that vertical hamstring separation. So everything looks really good. Her glutes look really full and round. This is a really good Ivana. She knocked it out of the park. I would say watch out, everyone, at the Olympia if she brings this package. This is a very good package, and this is pretty much exactly the package she should be bringing for the Olympia. So congratulations, Ivanita. She's a good buddy of mine. I love her. I love seeing her win shows, and I love her being an Olympia blocker too. She's going to be doing some more shows in the UK, so look for her, or in Europe, I should say, before the Olympia starts. So we'll see how many Olympia spots she blocks, but she is a go-to Olympia blocker, keeping that Olympia gate closed for a few who maybe shouldn't be there yet. You got to get past a girl like this to get to Olympia, and that's what makes these next 12 weeks so exciting. Let's go ahead and dive into the Florida show, which is again going to be a crazy good show with some Olympia blockers. So jumping into the Tampa Pro, we have some serious names going into this show. So let's take a look at some of the names. We have India Paulina jumping in. She still has to qualify for the Olympia. We have Ashlyn Little, who's looking absolutely awesome based on her pictures. You know, and the pictures are going to be a lot different. When we talk about Instagram pictures versus the stage, obviously there's going to be a big difference there, you know, because she's not next to anyone who posts pictures who are when you don't look your best. You take 20 pictures and post your best one. Everyone does that. So who knows what she's actually looking like? But from what I'm seeing in her pictures, she looks incredible. The best that I've seen from her so far. We're not going to know for sure until she's on stage next to someone. And then we also have Lauren Dannenmiller coming back to the stage, which is really exciting. I've talked to Lauren. Lauren says she was 8 pounds heavier. Now, remember, Lauren took a year off to get a little bit more muscular, but Lauren was placing top 10, not being the most muscular. She still needed a lot of muscle and placed top 10 in the world needing more muscle. That's how good she is. So her structure, her tie-ins, her flow, her stage presence is just amazing. Is she going to have that when she comes back? Is she going to have some ring rust on her and need to do a couple shows to get that good presentation back again? Or is she going to be the Lauren Dannenmiller that we've seen before, who just owns the stage and has 8 more pounds of lean mass? Maybe come showtime, she'll net 5 of that. And that's going to be a really exciting thing to see, because everyone's saying, she still doesn't have enough muscle to be competitive in today's bikini world. Well, remember, she was doing good just a couple years ago in bikini, not having enough muscle. She's not someone who they need to have that much muscle. She just needs to have a little bit more to be competitive, because her total package was so good. So is that going to be enough to hold off Ashlyn in this next show? I don't know. My prediction is it's going to be those two in the top 2, but who knows? We have some other heavy hitters. We have Tatiana that's going to be doing that show, who's Olympia qualified. We have Liana, who's going to be doing that show. Now, Liana's kind of been all over the place. She came out with a bang at the Pittsburgh Pro when it was a really deep Pittsburgh Pro, and she got her first call out there, and she's kind of been all over the place. Last weekend in Chicago, with lesser competition than this show, she ended up getting a 7th place. I do think she should have placed a little higher at that show, so who knows how she's going to do. But if it's anything like Chicago, she is not going to be, I don't see her jumping in and being really competitive at this show, considering you have an Ashlyn, you have a Lauren, you have an India. There's a lot higher level of competition with more girls. You have 27 girls in this competition. So is she going to make enough improvements to get into that show? I see her somewhere being in that 4th through 8th place, based on these girls. I think 4th would be a really good showing for her. The bigger question is, how good is India going to be? And is India going to be enough to hold off, to get a qualification in front of Ashlyn, in front of Lauren? I find that to be unlikely with how Ashlyn's looking. And I find it unlikely, especially with Lauren not needing as much muscle. So we'll see how she does and if her physique can hold true. Now, remember, India did really, really good years prior, but everything's changed in bikini, and her structure isn't the most hourglass frame. She had more of a straight up and down structure. She's a little shorter, has some bubbly muscles, but they're very big muscles too, especially in the glutes, kind of bordering on that being really, really round, really big, kind of almost like a junior wellness type of girl in her glutes, because her glutes are so big and they're so short. So is that structure going to work in today's bikini world? I think that's the wall she's running into right now, because the structures have kind of changed a little bit, what they're looking for in bikini. So my prediction on this one is going to be Ashlyn in that first place spot. We'll see how that goes. And I think Lauren could be as high as 2nd on that one. It really depends on if that muscle looks the way it does. And from what I'm seeing in her pictures, it's looking pretty good. She's not the most muscular girl. She never has been the most muscular girl, but I see those two throwing down, and India being somewhere in that top 5 here. If Liana can put it together, I can see her getting up as high as 3rd if she can put that package together right. But based on the last showing in Chicago, it doesn't look to be like that's going to be the case. So we'll see how this one goes. But this is going to be a really exciting weekend. A lot going on here. Remember, everyone's going for that Olympia spot. India, Liana, Lauren, and Ashlyn are not qualified for the Olympia. So this is going to be a big one. This is going to be one of the better shows for an Olympia qualification coming up, because soon you're going to see Daraja coming into shows. You're going to see Issa coming into shows. You're going to see Amy coming back, Rihanna coming back. So you're seeing a lot of Olympia blockers. Ivana already blocked a spot. A lot of these Olympia blockers are going to be taking these spots up. So this is one of the few open shows where there is an Olympia qualification to be had. I think the only one here that I've seen on this list, if I'm not mistaken, this is a long list, and I don't know all of these girls, and some of them are foreign. And the foreign, they're not super regular to me, so some might be qualified. But Tatiana, I think, is the only one that can be an Olympia blocker here at this show, because she's already qualified. So we'll see how it goes, and I'm excited for this one. Now, jumping over to USA's, I wanted to go into and congratulate Judy Sun for winning Miss USA. So congratulations, Judy. I'm really excited to see you on the pro circuit, and welcome to the Pro League in a awesome way. Now, here's the thing I also wanted to look at. I wanted to look at the judging for Judy and look at Miss USA judging. And was it what we've all been talking about this year, which is, Are they going too muscular? Are they making it unrealistic? Is the physique harder and bigger? And have they been following suit on that? Because that's been a lot of people's fear, because the last couple years, bikini has gotten a little bit muscular. You've seen some one-offs where a very muscular girl has won a show, and in turn, you've seen less bikini competitors getting on stage because, they're taking longer off seasons. They're taking more time to get ready for the shows. It's harder to get ready for a show. You need to get leaner, etc. So there's a lot of that fear. And I've been talking about that earlier part of this year as well. But you got to remember, there's a lot of different judges with a lot of different opinions. And also, they've had these conversations. Have they gotten better at the judging? Let's look at Miss USA, because this is kind of the standard that you said. There's a couple shows a year that there's going to be like standard set. One of them is going to be the Olympia, and that sets kind of the pro standard. The Miss USA is a big title. It's arguably the biggest amateur title you can win, because you get your pro card there, and you win the biggest, Miss USA title. So looking at the overall physique and looking at the numbers. So here's the thing. A lot of people have been talking about this. I've been talking about it, and here's the thing. When you get Sandy and Tyler judging and Etele, you're going to get like the best judges there for bikini, especially when you get those three together. It's going to be spot on judging. No arguments. There's no weird thing, one-offs that happen. That is going to be the best girl is going to win that. They're very accurate with their judging. And looking at Judy, really, really good physique, a really good pick. I do not think she's too muscular in any way. I think that's super obtainable physique. But let's look at perception in this year, which is how the numbers have been affected. So 2018, there was 242 bikini competitors at USA's. This year, there was 131 bikini competitors at USA. So huge drop off. I mean, we're talking almost 50% numbers. And when bikini's heyday, which I do think was bikini's heyday, was 2015 to 2018. I think that the physiques that were winning the pro shows there were realistic, obtainable, not overly lean, not overly muscular, and the excitement in bikini was really there. You're having these huge numbers at shows. Just as an example, USA's 242 versus this year's 131. What shrinks the shows like that? Well, the perception of I need more muscle, I need more conditioning, I need to take more time off from show to show. Of course, you're going to get less numbers. Look at how many bodybuilders are at shows. Very few. Because what are they doing? They're always growing, right? They're always growing. Oh, I need to take a year off. I need to take 2 years off. I need to compete once a year because it's hard for me to keep this muscle. And that's what the bikini division, when it grows, is going to naturally happen. You're going to have less girls competing. So is that a good thing for bikini competitors, bad thing for bikini competitors? I think that when you look at the physique of Judy, I think that they've really picked the right physique. I don't think anyone would need, 3 years of off season to get a physique like Judy. And that's no knock at Judy. She's got a great, beautiful physique. She's Miss USA, best amateur in the country right now, right? We're now pro, but was best amateur Saturday before she got that pro card in the country. So with that being said, let's take a look at her. And is this an unrealistic physique? And I think absolutely not. So the first thing that makes bikini hard is going to be that conditioning level, right? So when full tie-ins became a thing, when full etch tie-ins, and that's what I talk to judges about sometimes too, is the difference of a sign of a tie-in for it to just start showing up and a full etch tie-in is another 4 to 8 weeks of dieting for some girls. And it's also another year of training to get that tie-in to be that muscular so it actually shows through the skin, right? So it's showing, you can see it through the skin. So with that being said, let's take a look at her tie-in. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. Now the pictures were a little dark at USA's, but the tie-in is there, but it's not a full etched tie-in, right? It's not fully etched. So there's a nice sign of a tie-in. The edges are there, but it's not fully etched in like someone carved it out of granite, right? Could she get to that point? Yeah, absolutely she could get to that point. It would take her another probably 4 weeks of dieting to get there. She would probably need a little bit fuller glutes to really have them still show fullness while she's dieted down that hard, and that's kind of the difference. So this physique, I think with this, if they're picking this types of physiques, there's good roundness to the hamstring, but it's not overly muscular. Look at her shoulders. They're round, but they're not crazy developed. Look at her hourglass shape. It's a beautiful hourglass shape, but it's not a crazy X-frame or huge lats or anything like that. This is a very obtainable physique. And if anyone's complaining about this physique, you're just playing the wrong sport, because this is, it should be hard to get to this physique. She's put in some real work here, right? But it's not a 10-year physique. It's not a you could probably get this physique naturally, right? It's not an overly enhanced physique. It is a good physique for bikini, and I really am happy with the direction I've been seeing things go lately. I think that the judges have really looked at bikini, and you could see this year they've been looking at those things. They looked at men's physique. They said, hey, we're going to do a weight cap. They looked at classic physique, and they just announced, hey, we're going to allow X amount more weight to make it fair for the taller guys who are at a disadvantage, right, of the weight because of their weights, right? So, or for the shorter guys, actually, because the taller guys had more weight allowed. So they're looking at all these things, and they're constantly analyzing and making it better. And they're saying, okay, maybe bikini went a little bit far. We're going to tone down on the conditioning. We're going to tone down a little bit on the muscle. So these are good signs. When you see things like this and the people who are winning these pro shows getting a little softer and a little less muscular with less tie-ins showing up, this is a good sign. And the Olympia is going to be the true test of who do they really pick and how do they set the standard for this year. But all of you bikini girls out there who are trying to get crazy jacked and you're just doing off seasons, this is a representation of what the best judges in bikini are looking for. There is no one's going to argue that Tyler and Sandy are the best two judges in bikini of setting the standard, and Etzela's right there behind him, right? So that's what they're picking. They're saying this is what we want. This is a good physique for Miss USA. And here's how you decide those things, right? So you're going to have some weird shows here and there where a muscular girl is going to win the show. It happens, and sometimes I agree with it, sometimes I don't. But sometimes what happens with those muscular girls at the shows that win, what happens is there's no one else to pick from. Everyone else had flaws. Everyone else wasn't developed enough. Maybe they're too soft. So what do you do, right? When there's a show where there's no big names and it's just kind of those one-off shows, what do? Well, you pick the girl that's best, even if she's too muscular. And you tell her, hey, you're a little too muscular, but you won today because you were the best one here. The problem is people see that and they say, oh, I got to be that muscular because that girl won a pro show, and that's how I need to look at the pro show. And the next thing you know, you have 10 of those girls at the show who look like that, and now the judges have no one else to pick from besides those girls. But when the judges start rewarding girls like this, it changes things because now this becomes the standard. And for you amateurs out there, this is the standard to get the overall title. This is the standard to get a pro card, right? So I'm really happy. My hat's off to Tyler and Sandy for sticking to the criteria and keeping it realistic. I think this is going to let a lot of girls take a breath and say, okay, maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe I don't need to be as muscular as one of the most muscular bikini girls, right? A lot of this came from just who they were picking this year, and you have those one-off girls who have a lot of muscle, have a lot of density. You have your Amy's out there who have really big quads who are winning shows, but everything offsets with her, right? You have your Laura Lee with really big glutes, and you're like, man, I got to get my glutes that big to win a pro show. Well, no, you don't. That just works for them and their physique. Doesn't mean that that's what you need, and this is a perfect sign of that. So hats off to you guys. Thanks for setting the standard. Hopefully, girls see this, and the girls that are taking these really long off seasons, girls know, hey, maybe I can get on stage now. I don't need to be as muscular. This girl just won Miss USA. I'm just as muscular as that, right? I don't need to get crazy tight. I don't need an additional 4 weeks, 8 weeks of dieting. For all you girls who are natural out there and don't want to take anything, this is a physique that is achievable naturally. I don't know her. I don't know if she's natural or not, but yes, you could get to this level naturally. That's for sure. That is not something that is not unobtainable naturally, right? So I think this is a great direction for bikini. So I'm really happy about it. I'm really happy about it. Even though we had a USA champion, right? We had a A-class champion, Tina, Tutu Tina, if you guys know her. She's the one that came out to the prep house. She trained twice a week for about 3 months total. Everyone thought it was too crazy, and I was going to overtrain her. And I was like, you guys, I know what I'm doing. It ended up working out. She won her pro card, and she wasn't overly tight either. So even though I wanted that damn Miss USA title and I could never get it, I'm really happy with who they picked because it was very realistic. And if you look at Tina's pictures too, she wasn't overly conditioned. She was in good shape. There's not going to be too much for her to change going to the pro level. So I'm excited about her getting her pro card as well. And I'm really happy with how they picked at Miss USA's. It makes me excited for the Olympia even more because I think that this could be a year where they set the standard and say, hey, we're going to make sure that we're not picking an overly muscular girl who's not overly developed, and we're going to set that standard to what bikini should be. And maybe at times before we've gone a little far with it. So I am very, very excited with it. We'll see what happens, of course, but this is a great sign of things. So that's what I got for you. Did the judges get it right? Let me know in the comments below. Do you guys want me to do a Tampa Pro review after that show? Let me know in the comments below as well. As always, TeamElitePhysique.com for worldwide online contest prep with me. I will talk to you guys later.